Hello, my name is Edwin Garcia and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how I made my sound design demo reel. Making my demo reel was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It took way more time and effort than I thought it would. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a deep dive and really break down how I did it and how I went from absolutely nothing to a completed sound design demo reel. So I broke everything down into steps. That way it'll be a little bit more helpful than just one long form video with no kind of text or anything. Alright, so step one's very simple. You have to figure out what you want to actually create sound for and set up a vision. A sound design reel can be so many things. You can do an indie one, you can do a AAA one. So it's really about thinking, okay, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to demonstrate? What kind of work do you want to do? And you can't just say, I want to do any work, because then you're actually marketing yourself for nobody and you're demonstrating nothing, right? So you want to really have it narrowed down and specific. For me, I wanted to do a indie demo reel because I'm looking for working and collaborating with indie developers. So I thought about the indie games that impacted me, the ones that I think I could really shine and show my best work for, and then that started the process of figuring out which games I would pick. So after a little bit of time of thinking, I can't remember exactly, I started this process early in 2020. I thought about the games and then I came down to 3, and that is Shu, Kamiko, and Horizon Chase Turbo. Once I was absolutely certain those were the 3 games I wanted, and the reason I picked those 3 games is because they look adorable, they're super fun, I love the sound design, and I thought it would show different aspects of my skill set demonstrating those 3 games. So once I did that, I moved on to step 2, and that was to gather the clips to tell the story. Now there are a lot of different rules and schools of thought for how to tell a story in a sound design reel. The way I went about it was I decided it was going to be around a minute long. I wanted to get it as close to a minute because I feel like you don't want to have a very long demo reel because most people just will get bored, tired, fatigued, and kind of say, okay, I get it. You can do this, you can do that. So I wanted to make sure it wasn't too long, and I think a minute's perfect amount of time to demonstrate the things I wanted to demonstrate with those 3 clips. I ended up a little over a minute, I believe like 111, 112. Yeah, around there. So I pretty much I'm happy with that. I was right around where I wanted to be. So again, that's why it's important also to pick the games that you care about and games that you feel like you'll shine in. That's what I did. I created the story, just kind of how I thought it would look visually well and put together nicely. And I had the clips from my Switch and I put them on my desktop and I put them in Adobe and I was ready to go. So now that I thought about the games, I figured out what they were, I took the clips, I have a story. What's next? Outlining your steps. Now, I'm not sure how other people do it, but this is how I did it. I went on my iPad and I used an app called GoodNotes. Now, GoodNotes is just an app that basically gives you the ability to have endless amounts of compositional paper and able to just kind of, write on planners, and you can create planners digitally, infinitely on the app. And it's a really, really great app. I use it every single day. It's an absolute must for me in my life. So it's very useful. And I use GoodNotes. I created a folder called, or a, compositional book or whatever you want to call it, called Demo Reel for Indies. And in there, I wrote down everything that I needed for my information I needed to make my demo reel for indie games. And in it, I'm just going to show you the Shu version, because if I show you everything, this video would be extremely long, and I think if we just stick to Shu, I can focus on it and you can apply that to any clip that you're using. Okay, so I used Shu, and here it is, Shu Sound Design Notes. Alright, and then I looked at the video that I exported from my Switch, and I wrote down every single sound that I was going to use and going to need. Actually, I wrote down every single sound I was going to need, and then I gave them numerical numbers, and here you see I have about 9 sounds that I needed to finish this little clip. So now that I have them all written down and ready to go, I also wrote them down and had them all have their own separate page where I can really go in depth on each sound, and we'll get to that in a moment, but here's what it looks like. Alright, and now that we wrote down all the sounds we need, gave them all their own sections in my little GoodNotes notebook, now it's time to move on to the next step, which is making sound. It's actually time for us to make sound. Now, the way I went about it was I didn't go in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I basically kind of just started where I wanted to. I decided that just on how I feel, the things that I needed to do, the amount of time it would take, or at least that I thought it would take, and I kind of just went about it that way. So I didn't exactly go in order. It was kind of just how I felt that would be the best use of my day that day. That's the sound I focused on. And with that separate sheet of paper for each section, I would write down whatever valuable information I needed. This part definitely took the most time, actually creating the sounds. It depends on your skill set and your level. Maybe you already know how to do all of these things, making footsteps and jump variations and sounds of bells and sounds of butterflies and things like that. And if you are, that's great. You can just do the work and be done. For me, it was a mix. Some of these things I feel like I've already done to some degree, and I just implemented those styles. Some of them, I really had to look up things. And again, I'll say Google is your friend. Use Google, use YouTube, watch multiple clips of people doing certain things you want to do, read articles. I did so much research as well. It's not just recording the sounds. You have to do your research to try to figure out the best way to make the sounds. And I learned so much by doing this. I cannot emphasize enough how much I learned and how much time it took. It took many hours, but it was definitely well worth it. Again, everyone's journey will be different based on your level and based on how many sounds you need. Some clips needed more sound, some clips needed less. So this one needed about 7, 8, depending on how you look at it, but different ones also needed more. So it'll all depend on what you do. I doubt you'll make the exact same demo reel I make, so you'll have to figure out what's needed to get it done. Okay, now let's say you're done. You finished all of your assets, you have all the sounds you need, the clip is ready. So what's next? Next, you have to implement the sound. We have our image, we have the old image with the old sound, and now we need our sound. So this part's a little tricky. Depending on the game, you can actually implement the sound using middleware, using something like Wise or Fmod. Maybe you know how to code and you have the source code and you can go in there and code your sound in. I didn't do any of that for this. So you have to implement the music somehow, but it doesn't have to be music implementation the way people think, which is using middleware or actually getting into the code and adding sound. It just means that it has to be there. It has to be there somehow. And the way I made sure it was there is I used Adobe Premiere, and I brought the image and the video and everything, all the assets that I had before, and I put them in Adobe. Then I took out all the sound and I added my new sound in. And the way you can be clear, so that way someone doesn't think you implemented it, you just call it a sound redesign. And that way no one thinks that I actually implemented this. I can implement sounds, and I have done it in Wise, but I didn't do that to do these. So you always want to make sure that you're not accidentally being inauthentic or actually being inauthentic and telling people you did something you didn't do. That's definitely something you don't want to do. So for my process, I just went in Adobe Premiere and I added my new sounds to the game footage that I already had captured. So again, Adobe Premiere is also something that would be, there are hours of videos on Adobe Premiere and learning how to use it. We're not going to go into those details because that would be, again, a whole huge video, and I think this video will probably be a little long anyway, but that's what I did. I put it there and use it that way. So the next step is editing and re-editing. I had to continuously look at this footage, record it, sleep on it, come back to it, and shout out to the Twitter user @Matesk. He really helped me out. He's a pro sound designer, and I believe very early this year or late last year, I don't remember, he put up a tweet saying, hey, I'm a veteran in the sound design community. I want to help up and coming sound designers in any way I can. I'm available to do some mentorship and kind of help out. And I reached out to him. I told him what I was doing, what I was interested in, and he said he didn't promise me anything, but he said, you know what, I had a lot of people message me, and I'll think about it. When you need anything, just send me a DM and let's talk. And we did, and I followed up with him, and it was awesome. He helped me so much. He was firm, but he was fair. So when he didn't think it was working too well, he did tell me, but he didn't say it in a way that was condescending or overly mean. He was just like, hey, I don't hear this, or I think you want to do this and I'm not getting this from that, and things like that. He really helped me out, and I can 100% say that without his help, this reel would not be as good as it was. And he really helped push me. Even someone just saying, more, try it again, give me more, try it again, and me just going and getting more. And every time I did my reel, it got better. And every time I thought it was really good, it went to another level and another level. And it was amazing having him help me, and it was amazing seeing that process. So thank you so much, Matt. You are awesome. You were so helpful, and I really appreciate it. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I hope I've helped clear up how to actually make a sound design reel for anyone out there who's interested. I'm always free to talk to people, so you can just leave a comment below on this YouTube video. If not, you can go ahead and look at my socials and use the social site of your choosing and send me a message if you have some more questions. If there's something you want me to dive deeper into, I'd love to do that. I'm here to talk to people. I'm here to help people who are even on an earlier stage than I am. I'm really happy with how this demo reel came out, and I'm really excited to work with devs in creating sounds for games. And again, this is my goal, is to create a impact on this world, a positive impact on this world through sound. And the way I do that is by getting better at sound design myself, by helping fellow sound designers, and ultimately working with developers providing that service, creating good sounds that will help people's experiences in playing video games and experiencing video games. So that's my goal, that's my job. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If this is your first time watching a video, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing. At the time of this recording, I'm about, I think, at 80 subscribers, and I wanted 100 before the year's over. We got like 3 weeks to get it. I love to get it. I'm not really expecting to, because it just feels like I'm too far away. I feel like I'm going to get annoyingly close, but hey, that's okay. I don't do it for that anyway. I do it to try to provide service and value to people, but the more people I can do that for is obviously a good thing. So hopefully, if you've watched this video and appreciate it, you'll consider subscribing if you haven't. All right, that's it for today's video. I had a blast. I hope you did too. Hope you learned something. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Later.